So,
Sorry, I thought we were starting.
yeah, let's start.
Okay. Oh, it's recording, that's what I was saying.
Okay, cool. Hello guys, and welcome to another episode, a podcast about living in France as a foreign student and more especially as a person of color. For today's episode, we're talking about homesickness. What is homesickness? What does it mean? How to deal with it? That's what we're going to look at today. So before we go ahead, I was reading a paper online, so I'm just going to read a portion of it. So in a paper co-written by Chris Thurber and Edward Walton, published in Pediatrics, the Journal of American Academy of Pediatrics, homesickness is defined as distress and functional impairment caused by an actual or anticipated separation from home and attachment objects such as parents. Those who suffer from the condition feel some form of anxiety, sadness, nervousness, and most distinctly obsessive preoccupation with thoughts of home. So for today's episode, you have me, Adom, and
It's Tiffany.
And I'm Shruthi.
And I'm Anne.
Okay, so have any of you ever felt homesick since you came to Paris?
Not since coming to Paris, but I have felt homesickness before.
Where?
So when I first moved to Japan, I was 19, and the first year, although it was really fun, I was pretty homesick the first 4 months or so.
Okay, how about you, Sruthi?
I don't think I've felt homesick since I moved here. At least not according to the definition that you've
Well, so
just
you don't
mentioned.
miss anybody from your past
No.
life?
Like, it has not impaired my functionality in any way.
Okay.
I do miss some things from back home. I do miss my parents sometimes, obviously, but I've also been living outside of home for a very long time since I moved out when I was 14. So I don't think this is particularly new, especially because we can call our parents whenever we want. There's technology, new communication methods. So I don't think I felt it very intensely. I do miss this sort of more sensorily stimulating environment that I had in India, but otherwise I don't think I felt homesick actually.
I've felt homesick exactly twice since I moved to Paris. Once, the very first time was when I got chicken pox.
Yeah, that was a time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got chicken. I got chicken pox after moving to a white country. I didn't know that thing existed here.
Isn't that how they killed the Native Americans?
But that was a rough time because I was on my own, even though my roommates at the point also got chickenpox, so it was just us, living in our misery together, which helped. But I did miss home, particularly because my mom has been in the medical field, so I've never had to go to the hospital, or even if I had to go to the hospital, I never had to wait in a line because, there were privileges that came with my mom working in a hospital. So I kind of miss that fact, that there was nobody to take care of me and I was on my own. And the other time that I felt a little homesick was during Christmas, because it was my first Christmas away from home, and Christmas like a big deal at home, we have, my mom cooks some special dishes and, we have like a family time and things like that. And that was a little rough because I went to Switzerland for Christmas, and my mom's college friends invited me over because they didn't want me to be alone in Paris for Christmas. And it was nice with them, but they were a family, and it just
You
made
were
me
the outsider.
I was the outsider, and even though they gave me gifts, and I loved them, they're really nice, it still felt, I did miss home because I wondered what it would have been like to be with family at this time. And it was also the time that my brother was also at home, and a lot of things were going on with my family, and I would have really loved to be at home. So yeah, they're the only 2 times when I actually felt homesick.
So how does homesickness like manifest for you? How does it present when you were in Japan, for instance, for the first 4 months? How was the homesickness like?
I'm trying to think back. It was a very long time ago. I'm so old.
No, you're not.
I'm practically a grandmother. I just remember really missing my mother, and we're a very tactile family, so I miss like just being able to go up and hug her, or like just sit next to her, or just have a quick cuddle. And I really missed that in my first, like, especially actually during the winter. The first Christmas was really hard. Since then, like, I really haven't felt much homesickness, but when I do get a little lonely, it's like, oh, I'm quite sad. I just want to stay in my room and like listen to Evanescence and remember when I was
Cool. How about you, Anne?
I think for me, I just get really, really sad, and I think about all the good food I could have eaten if I was at home. The food that I don't have to cook.
I'm
because
so
my
jealous
mom would
that
cook
your mom
it.
cooks.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing. During the pandemic, I was working from home, and I was at home, like with my parents, but my parents, for some reason, suddenly respected my boundaries, and they would never come into my room when I was working. But up until I was a student, my mom would go through my bag.
My mom still goes through my bag.
But
What is
yeah,
she looking for?
I have
incriminating
no idea.
evidence.
I have no
See-
idea what she wants to find.
My mom would go, usually when I was in school, my mom would go through my bag because I'd forget to take my lunchbox out so that it doesn't stink, or, take my books out or
Yeah.
whatever. And then she would come across incriminating things at times.
Like what? I mean, she's already seen it, so just say it.
When I was a teenager, I used to write diaries. And teenage is
Right.
where my rebellion with my mom began. And every diary entry started with, I hate my mom. Okay.
And your mom's just like, what did I do to you?
She knew what she did. But like right now, if I tell her, you know what, you did this when I was 13, and in the month of November on this date, she's like, that didn't happen.
She gaslights you.
Oh.
You imagined it. There is no way I would have done that. And I was like, okay, mom, okay. All the trauma that came with it, the years I spent in therapy trying to get over it, sure, that didn't happen at all. But I've made my peace with it now. And I think at this point, after everything I've been through, now I actually appreciate my parents for what they've done. And, the struggles they went through to raise me and my brother, and making us feel like they made us who we are today, and I will
Absolutely.
always be grateful to them for that. That is a very new feeling that came very recently.
With age.
I think, that's a feeling I've had since moving too, but I don't think it has anything to do with moving. It has to do with the fact that age humbles you, and you see
Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
see you see the world the way your parents may have seen it when they were younger as well, and so
Yeah.
you see that you finally realize the reasons behind some of the choices they took.
Yeah, I actually got to that phase when I was in my undergrad, and then I started understanding certain choices that my parents, may have made for us in the past, for me specifically. And then you become your parents.
You become your oh my god, absolutely.
Although I will say, like, if you're having trouble like communicating with your mom about like past trauma and airing out the difficulties, wait. it took my mom 10 years, but we're finally at the point where I can be like, hey, remember that shitty thing you did when I was a child? And she's just like, yeah, I've grown as a person. I would never do that to you now. And
Yeah, no.
I mean, she couldn't do it now, even if she wanted, because you're an adult.
yeah, but like
yeah.
people change. People
No,
never
but
stop
that is
changing,
actually
so.
one of the things I really appreciate my parents for, because throughout last year when I was starting my application processes, my parents have always been very supportive when it came to education. Like they would let me explore what I want to do, let me study as much as I want to. If I wanted to sign up for extra classes, even if they had to, spend extra money that was not in the budget, they made sure that children got it when it came to education.
Yeah.
But if I'm talking in terms of emotional or mental health, I did never really got it, because at this point I understand they were just too busy trying to bring food to the table that
Yeah.
the priority was to keep us fed, not emotionally healthy or happy. But over the last year, my parents actively took an effort to understand how my anxiety works. Genuinely, I could see the change that they have been going through,
Yeah.
and that is something that cemented even more once I moved, because my mom was really, really, really sad the day I left India for Paris. And I remember she sent like a voice note to my aunt where she was crying, and she was saying that this is the first time I feel like she's gone very far away, even though I've lived in different cities. I've lived away from home before. She never felt this distance, which she suddenly felt. But I also think it was because I was out of her control now completely.
She'd have her spies.
Yeah.
Sending her reports.
Exactly. But yeah, I think moving also had a lot to do with how she's viewing things now for me, along with the age. If I was in India, it might have been a completely different situation, whether it be me dating or me taking up a new job. They would have had a lot more say in what I was doing or what I was thinking. But now they know that they don't understand. So they're like, okay, I'm trusting you to make the right choices.
Yeah.
And-
They leave you to your devices in a
Yeah.
way. Yeah.
And talking about parents focusing on putting food on the table and not your mental health. So there's this saying on West African Twitter where it's loosely translates to it is the person who is alive that actually needs mental health support. So like the focus is on actually keeping you alive, because if
Yeah.
you're dead,
Yeah.
where's the mental
Yeah.
health going
Exactly.
to take you
Does you no
to?
good.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. But then also talking about moving from home and coming to Paris, is this place everything that you expected it to be? Like, usually in the media, since we were little, even over history, Paris has been like romanticized in so many ways, and people call it the city of love and all sorts of very pretentious names. And for me personally, I'm sort of underwhelmed by the entire city.
You
I
just
mean,
got Paris syndromed.
You see, the thing is, originally I didn't want to be here. It wasn't the plan. So coming here, I didn't really have any expectations. So it's like I don't have any expectations for the city to disappoint. I'm just underwhelmed. But I don't know about you guys. Has it been?
So for me, again, Paris was not. I didn't come to Paris for Paris. For me, the program was more important, and the program looked amazing on the website. So I signed up.
Yeah.
And I got into universities in the UK, and I got into one in Germany, and I got into one in Canada and here. And this program was on top because, well, I didn't have to pay any tuition fees since we're a part of a public university.
Yeah.
So that was a big win. And even when I was coming, because I've had terrible experiences during my undergrad of going in somewhere with extremely high expectations, I came with zero expectations, and I think that's honestly the reason why I'm happy. I wouldn't say that I'm underwhelmed. There are things in Paris that really excite me, and maybe it might just be a walk along the Seine, but it's really peaceful to me. That's not something I could have enjoyed in India. And on the whole, I feel like I know people can keep complaining that Paris is noisy, but clearly you're not from India.
Yeah, because it's so silent.
It's
so silent.
It's
Yeah.
very silent.
I find the opposite experience. I found Paris to be quite loud comparatively, but I wouldn't say I'm underwhelmed by it. I do find some small things that I really enjoy about Paris, but it's not as good as people say.
So it is.
Right. Yeah.
I
But that's true of almost every city.
I mean, I love the croissants. Like, they are amazing.
The what?
Yeah, the croissant.
Yeah, thank you.
Croissant.
Yeah, they're as amazing as people say they are. I mean, if you find the right bakery.
Yeah,
Mm.
that is important.
That is very important.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Although
croissants
sometimes
are-
even the croissant will be good, and you'll be like, "I'll take a croissant," and they're like, "Huh? What did you say?" I'm like, "You heard me.
I just point.
Give me
Yeah.
my
I
bread.
want this.
I will fight you for this bread."
Yeah.
Yeah, so I also, like most of you here, came with no expectations. I kind of already had the idea that Paris obviously isn't going to be as good as people make it to be. Because a couple of my parents have been here before, and the way they talk about Paris is, it's not the cleanest in Western Europe.
Yeah.
It's people smoke all the time, and it's not the most pleasant city. Compared to other cities in Western Europe, let's say. So I came here with not many expectations, and I didn't come to Paris for Paris again. But again, as Tiffany says, I wouldn't say that I'm underwhelmed. I'm underwhelmed in some aspects. Again, it's not as sensorily exciting
Yeah.
in the ways that maybe Chennai was for me. Also because I was there in the formative years of my life, so everything's felt exciting.
Yeah.
But here it's calmer, but also there's so many things to do that I don't think I'm bored.
I mean,
Yeah.
there are so many things to do in Paris, so many
Yeah.
museums, so many
Yeah.
things to see. I feel like for me, the consolation prize is the rich history that the city has.
True.
I'm very interested in the history, and unfortunately, I did my undergrad in French, and so I had to study some French history from like before the 5th century through the 5th century to the 15th century. So there are some things that I can see now that are like, oh, I read about this in a book, and now I can actually see
yeah,
it.
absolutely.
So it's that bit is interesting, and that bit is just exciting. But I would say maybe if I went out more and like explored the city. But I'm waiting for like the summer because it's cold now.
Yeah, same. I feel like apart from maybe the Eiffel, I really haven't seen any place specific because it's just too cold to go anywhere and I don't have money.
Yeah.
So once I have a job and it's summer,
Yeah.
I don't
go
need
all
summer,
out.
just a job.
I've been many places, but there's nowhere like where the bed's always warm, where my best friends are from, where the food's familiar. I could go many years, but I'll be back. Tell the tales of what I've done, of who I lost and who I loved. How I've missed Lumumba. I've been many places, but there's nowhere like home, where the bed's always warm, where my best friends are from, where the food's familiar. I could go many years, but I'll be back. Tell the tales of what I've done, of who I lost and who I loved. How I've missed Lumumba. Himbo J, Himbo Ya, Himbo Drum, Minona. We jamming on the west side. One more time for Lumumba. Himbo J, Himbo Ya, Himbo
Welcome back from that musical interlude. All the information about the music is in the description. And to continue our conversation, today we're still talking about homesickness. So the next things that we're going to talk about are, what we miss the most and how we deal with missing those things. Personally, I miss the sun.
Yes,
Definitely.
absolutely.
I miss the sun. Paris is so grey and drab and wet. I always thought that was London, but
Yeah,
it is
Paris.
Paris as
Yeah,
well.
I always thought that was London. Like
Yeah.
the gloomy city was London, and Paris was supposed to be the sunnier.
The Sanya cousin.
Yeah.
It's literally a twin. I feel
Yeah, it's a
like.
twin. It's just as grey and gloomy and rainy all the time. And
I actually do not miss the sun.
What?
I'm sorry. I feel like the sun in Japan would just fry my skin. Every day I'd just walk outside thinking like, oh, why is this my life?
The sun is that hot in Japan?
It's really hot, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I don't miss the sun in Chennai either because it was way too hot sometimes and we couldn't even get out, especially if it was like April. There was no way we could have gone out in the middle of the day. I mean, we would have to take like a taxi or a cab and just be
it's not
indoors
quite
all the
that
time.
hot.
So, yeah, I don't think I miss the sun that way either. But I just do miss not having to think about the weather all the time.
Yeah.
And just wearing whatever I had in my closet.
Yeah.
Not
yeah.
having to think too much about layering up and all of that. Yeah.
I'm going to walk back my previous statement. The sun in Japan is not that bad. Like, we could totally go out any time of the day, but just there's like a sort of cultural shame about getting a tan in Japan. So like everyone's covered up and you like they sell like arm guards for like women so that they don't get a tan. And I used to wear them and things like that. You go out with a hat, everything.
I see.
Which is weird since I'm black, but
Yeah, I was like, why would you
but
do that?
black people also get tan.
We do.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
I got a tan when I was 19 when we went on this trip to the coastal to Mahabalipuram. This is like a little town, historic town. And I got a tan and I couldn't get rid of it for the longest time. And it took like 8 months for me to get rid of it.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. It was crazy. I was orange.
I grew up in Delhi where during the summer the temperature goes up to 48, 50. And it's not humid, but it's like burning hot.
Delhi's
Yeah.
worse than
It's
Chennai.
dry hot.
Yeah.
The thing with South Indian cities and places is that it's really hot and it's really humid. But Delhi, you just burn. You just burn. Like there's no alternative.
Sorry, 48 degrees Celsius or Fahrenheit?
Celsius.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why when people tell me that in Paris that, it goes up to 35 degrees Celsius, it's so hot. And I'm like,
Bring it on, bro.
I mean, for like Ghana, I've seen like 35. Usually in the morning by 7 a.m., we're like 29, 30, 31.
That's so pleasant.
pleasant.
That is very pleasant. Honestly, because Chennai is 35 on a nice day.
yeah, Delhi is 35 on a nice day.
Oh my god, I ain't going to any of these fucking places. I would die.
Yeah,
I'm like these French people. I'd be dead.
It gets really, really hot. So, but I do miss the sun. I have lived in both the north part of the country and the southern part, and the north doesn't get as humid as the south. So I miss that part because I sweat like a pig. And for me, that was one of the reasons why I hated summers down south. Because you keep sweating. But in the north, you sweat, but because it's just too hot, your sweat evaporates after a point.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Okay, fun fact, pigs don't sweat.
Yeah.
Yeah, pigs don't sweat, and that's why they always coat themselves with mud. Because they don't have any pores to
Right.
sweat, so
Yeah.
they cover themselves with mud because it has cooling properties. And people think pigs
You know,
are dirty, but they're just trying to stay
this-
cool.
This actually reminds me of something. So, when I was in high school, and this is one story that my mom keeps telling people, which is one of the reasons why I avoid going in front of relatives when I go back home, is that we had some construction work going on at our house, our apartment, and the workers who were working sort of washed themselves with the cement
Yeah.
they were working with. And I asked my dad, what is it? Why are they doing that? He said it helps clean them up. And I was like, cool. And that day I took an hour and a half long shower. And then I couldn't come out because I had clogged everywhere with cement.
How old were you?
I was, I think I was 12, probably.
You were too old.
Yeah, I was
do
about to
that.
say. No judgment, but what the
Like
fuck?
maybe 10 or 12, I don't remember.
Yeah, you were too old.
You should have lied and said you were 8 or 9.
You should have said like 7 or 8.
Yeah, that is exactly why my mom keeps telling the story to everybody she knows.
Yeah, I would too. This girl fucked up my bathroom with cement, dumbass.
what I also miss
Okay.
about home is the beach.
Yeah.
I miss the beach. I don't think we have water around here.
Why? I don't understand people's love of the beach. Please explain.
I love the beach.
Yeah, but why?
It's so nice.
What about it's nice?
So for me, the vastness of the ocean just makes you think how small you are.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Why would I want that?
Wow.
It just makes you realize that some things aren't as grand as you make them out to be, and
Yeah.
you don't take some things that you've been taking seriously as seriously as you did.
Yeah.
And that's kind of liberating, and I really love just walking by the beach, getting something to eat from one of the many stalls, even though they might just fuck up your stomach the next day.
I feel
But-
like my love for the beach came from watching a lot of Hollywood movies growing up, where the beach was, like this ultimate summer destination.
Right.
And I grew up in the north, and we don't have any water around us. So beach was this unattainable destination I had to go to.
I don't know. I grew up near the beach and I never liked it. It smells like fish. There's
smells
always
like
some
fish.
shitty child crying. Like I couldn't swim, so I couldn't go too far in the water. Like no.
So I grew up about 25 minutes from the beach. My the town I grew up in, like just 25 minutes from the beach, and then I did my undergrad on the beach because my school was just a street across from the beach.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and
Lucky you.
oh no, my
No?
parents never let me swim, and so I was
Yeah,
always
I can't swim
terrified of
either.
the beach.
Right.
But then I decided to make a tradition of it when I went to undergrad. So the night before my 19th birthday, I spent the entire night at the beach. The night before my 20th birthday, I did the same. The night before my 21st, I was in a therapist's office. Yeah. But the night before my 22nd birthday, I was in another country, another city. I spent it on the beach, and I never got into the water. It's just the being present at the beach, the wind, the crashing of the waves, the vastness of the ocean. I don't know. It just does something to calm me down in a way. It makes me feel like everything else doesn't matter. You know, like it's like it brings me into the present.
I'm just saying you could go back to therapy.
I mean, yeah, it's really expensive here, but there are,
Your birthday falls on a weekend. We can go to the beach.
yeah, it's a Sunday.
We
Wait,
should go to Etretat.
where's that?
Yeah, I was like, don't just
Yeah.
say that like we all know.
It's the nearest beach. It's in the northeast of France.
Oh, cool.
It's the nearest water body.
So wouldn't it be cold as fuck?
It would be.
It's March.
It's March, so it's like
March.
the day before spring officially begins.
yeah, it's
so,
March 19th.
So it'll still be cold here.
Yeah, it's still going to be. I don't know. Maybe I could just go to the aquarium, but away from my birthday plans. What advice do you guys have for immigrant students in Paris on how to deal with homesickness?
Food.
Food.
Yeah, honestly,
Yeah.
get like a favorite food and then just have that be your comfort. I'm not saying like to just overeat, but having something small that you can like sort of hold and remember with it can really help, especially something warm. Like
Yeah, so for me, that's Maggi noodles.
Maggi noodles, indeed, absolutely.
It's this.
what are Maggi noodles?
It's like the Indian ramen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and also just cooking food from home.
Yeah.
Like taking like if I'm feeling homesick or if I'm missing India or my town or like my parents, I will just take out 2 hours to just cook something that I would have eaten had I been there, and it really works,
Yeah.
and I feel okay after that. Yeah.
That's cool. When I miss people from home, I maybe call and text, and we get on a video call or a voice call, or I just send a text and then they reply when they can. And yeah, that's how I navigate. So maybe to deal with homesickness, you should try to stay in touch with the people that are important to you back home, and try to like keep it going. Even if it's not as consistent as it used to be when you were back home, you could just keep it going. People understand that it's a new place,
Yeah.
it's a new environment, and you need to find your feet and all of that. So you just communicate that to them and try to stay in touch. I feel
What's also important, I would say, is to build a community of people around you where you are right now.
yeah,
Because you have moved to a new place, you need other support systems outside of the ones that you're used to, and just surround yourself with people that you vibe with, people that are just nice to you. And I think that's really important, just building a community. And don't stick to your room, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get out of your room.
Get out of your room.
Okay, guys, we'll go for another quick musical interlude, and when we come back, we have a very important tip to share with you. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Sometimes I wanna be alone. I cry myself to sleep. Most nights I wanna be alone. I cry myself to sleep. Yeah, but it's okay to cry. Look, it's okay to feel lost inside, man. It's okay to cry. It's okay to feel numb inside, man. It's okay to cry. It's okay to feel sad inside, man. It's okay to cry. It's okay to feel numb inside, but most nights I wanna be alone. Alone, 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 no. Alone, 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 no. Alone, 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 no, no, no.
Hello, guys. Welcome back from that musical break. So on today's tip, we're going to share with you a very, very important document. So thanks to our guardian angel, Miss Yaneth Ramos. She is the student life coordinator on our campus. That woman is awesome.
Yes.
So she shared a document with mental health resources with us. It has links to free mental health resources to help students and young people navigate their lives. So over here, usually therapy is quite pricey, but there are options that work just as well, and they are free and they are available. So just check the
Is therapy
description.
covered by Social Security?
I don't think so.
I think like the first couple of times, 2 or 3 times or something like that, and then the
There's
rest,
a limit, yeah.
yeah, you have to pay out of pocket. So you can take advantage of that if you want, and then get that therapist to transfer your files to, whichever resource that you choose to use on this list. We're going to include a list of the documents in the podcast description so that you can go through and then find something that works for you. Just know that when you feel overwhelmed, or when you need someone to talk to, when you need some help, just know that there are resources available to you and for you. So just check the lists, reach out to somebody, to someone, and all of these people are very willing and available to help you. Some of them even offer as like accompanying services, like they'll just be with you, walk with you to wherever you want to go. It's really great, guys. So just check it out and stay safe. Keep in touch with your friends. Find your clan and make sure that you don't stay in your room all the time.
That's it for today, yeah?
So see you guys next week.
See you next week. Bye.
See you guys. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.